With Phase 1 Wrath of the Lich King having been out for a few weeks now, you might be wondering what is there left to do. Well, in this video, I'm going to go through the top 33 rarest things you can hunt down in Phase 1 Wrath of the Lich King Classic, so that, you know, if you're bored, these are things you can go after. And the way I'm determining what is the rarest is we're going to look at the percentage drop chance from its source, whether that's from an achievement, whether it's purchased, whether it is earned in any sort of way, dropped, whatever. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at how many attempts you have in a given day, whether you can do it every day, whether you can do it every week, whether you can do it unlimited times. We're also going to take that into consideration. And that is how we're going to determine the rarest items in Phase 1 Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Now, coming in at number 33, the least rare of the rare, I would say, is Reigns of the Red Proto-Drake. This is from the Glory of the Hero achievement. You can attempt this every single day, and if you do the achievements for each heroic dungeon, you will get a 100% chance to get this mount. Now, some of these achievements are a little bit on the harder side, but really not that bad. You probably have 50% of them, if not more already, because a lot of them you just do from playing the game. So this is really not that difficult. You kind of do have to go out of your way for a few of them, like Share the Love, you have to get everyone impaled on the final boss of Gundrak. Maybe Zombie Fest, you have to be intentional about gathering up those 100 zombies, but a lot of them you're going to get very easily. So that is number 33. Moving on to 32 is the Chef's Hat. Now, this item is an item that nobody actually has yet, so it's quite rare. However, it is guaranteed people are going to get it. It's simply time gated. You need to do 100 cooking daily quests in order to get the currency, which is the $1 on Cooking Awards. You have to get 100 of them, and then you can buy that Chef's Hat. However, there is probably a large portion of the community who is not willing to do cooking dailies 100 times to get the Chef's Hat. So this is a bit rare. However, it is guaranteed if you just have the discipline to do it 100 times. All right, moving on to number 30. What number are we on? 31. Number 31, Reigns of the Violet Proto-Drake. This is very similar to the Chef's Hat because the Chef's Hat is time gated, and so is the Reigns of the Violet Proto-Drake. However, the Reigns of the Violet Proto-Drake is much more time gated. Instead of 100 days, it's probably going to take you more like 300 days in order to get it, and it's a little bit more involved. Cooking dailies are kind of straightforward, whereas the Violet Proto-Drake requires you to do the achievement, What a Long Strange Adventure, what a long strange trip it's been, whatever it's called. This achievement requires you to do a bunch of different holiday achievements, each of them varying in difficulty. It's not super hard. It used to be harder. Now it's not so hard. I'm also releasing videos on each of those, so if you're interested in getting this amazing 310% move speed mount, then don't forget to subscribe. This mount is super rare. No one has it. People are going to start getting it when the Fire Festival comes back around in about 6 months or so, 7 months. But a very, very elusive mount. All right, moving on to number 30. We have the Reigns of the Black Proto-Drake. This one requires doing the achievement Glory of the Raider 25 player. You have weekly attempts, but 100% chance to get this. So if you can just get these achievements, it won't be too hard. Some of these you can really cheat your way into doing. Like, honestly, this is something you could probably pay gold for. Like, you just die at the start of a fight, and then the rest of the raid does it correctly, right? Granted, that doesn't include the Immortal achievement where everyone needs to stay alive for the duration of the raid, unless somehow you die before the boss fight starts, and then they do the boss fight, nobody dies. Maybe that works too. But it's not super difficult. I've seen lots of these Black Proto-Drakes all around Dalaran, so not super hard, but still up there in terms of difficulty with getting the actual achievements. Similarly, we have, coming in at number 29, Reigns of the Plagued Proto-Drake. This is earned from Glory of the Raider 10 player, pretty much exact situation with the last mount, just 10 player, so not super difficult, but the achievements can be tricky for some. Now, coming in at number 28, we have the Reigns of the Ice Mammoth. Now, the reason this is a little bit more difficult to get is because you have to be revered with the Sons of Hodir. This involves, grinding some reputation, doing some quest chains. It also requires 900 gold. However, there is a 100% chance to get it. Some people might just not have the patience to do the quest chain, do the dailies. You also, if you want to just buy your way to revered, you can do that as well, buying those relics of Ulduar, and also you can get Sons of Hodir reputation from doing the daily dungeon quest, which gives you a commendation. So not super difficult. It is guaranteed. You can purchase it. Just takes a little bit of time. Probably a little more time than the mounts before. Coming at number 28, we have Reigns of the Grand Ice Mammoth. Now, the Grand Ice Mammoth requires Exalted with Sons of Hodir, so a little bit harder than the Ice Mammoth, and also costs 9,000 gold. So there's a little more difficulty there involved with getting this particular mount. Moving on to number 27, we have Reigns of the Woolly Mammoth. Now, this one is acquired from May Francis and Dalaran, and the reason this one is kind of difficult to get is because you need to farm 200 emblems of heroism. Yes, that's right. That is a bunch. It's going to involve you doing a bunch of heroics. Not a lot of people are going to prioritize getting this because they'd rather use their emblems on heirlooms, on pre-grade bis, on other things like that. So not many people go out of their way to get the Reigns of the Woolly Mammoth. All right, coming in at number 27, we have Reigns of the Traveler's Tundra Mammoth. Now, this one is rare because it is a very high-ticket item, coming in at 16,000 gold if you are exalted with Kirin Tor from May Francis, but you can just buy it. Really, it's just the gold barrier, which makes this a rare mount that not many people have. Similar to the Traveler's Tundra Mammoth, we have the Mechgineer's Chopper. Now, this one is difficult to get because the engineer has to be exalted with the Alliance Vanguard. Purchase that recipe. The materials itself cost about 10,000 gold to craft, and then the engineer will probably want to charge somewhere around 17,000. So if you're not an engineer and you didn't go through the process of crafting it, it'll cost you around 17,000 goldish, which is similar to the Traveler's Tundra Mammoth if you just want to purchase it outright, which again is a barrier which some people won't be able to get across, making it rare. All right, moving on to things that are more collector oriented, we have the Little Fawn's Salt Lick. Now, this is difficult to get because you need to obtain 75 unique pets. This is pretty cool because I don't think I've ever seen this yet, and there are a ton of pets you have to basically go out and get, some of them easier or harder to get. So it's kind of like it's a meta achievement, right? You have to do a bunch of different things in order to get to this one. So it's pretty difficult, it's pretty rare, and then you get a little doe pet that can follow you around. So you do have unlimited attempts to get this achievement, but it's pretty tough to complete. And then next we have the Blue Dragonhawk mount. This actually, I don't even know if this is achievable right now in phase 1, but you need to get 100 unique mounts in order to get the Blue Dragonhawk mount from the achievement Mountain O Mounts. So 100 mounts might not actually even be in the game yet, but definitely a rare thing to get. Involves grinding multiple reputations. It involves doing lots of different things, lots of gold, getting all those different mounts, purchasing them. Quite a task. However, once again, it is guaranteed at 100%, just like the Lil Game Hunter, Little Fawn Salt Lick we talked about. So not super impossible to get, just time consuming, but guaranteed, so there's no chance involved. All right, the next one is Reigns of the Twilight Drake. Now, the reason this one is difficult, even though, once again, it has a 100% drop rate, is because you have to win the roll against 24 other people. Not to mention, these 24 other people have to be pretty good at the game because 3 Drake Obsidian Sanctum is probably the hardest encounter available right now in Phase 1 Classic. So you also have a difficult time getting this because this can only be attempted every week, right? So this is a pretty difficult mount to acquire. This is right halfway in between our list of most difficult things to get in Classic. So definitely starting to get there a little higher in terms of difficulty. Now, what is more difficult than that? Well, actually, there is sort of a secret pet that not many people know about called the Kirin Tor Familiar. This is from the achievement called Higher Learning. There are books located out throughout Dalaran, and you have to basically read the books. And once you've read them all, you will get this pet. However, the books that you need won't always spawn. And so this is where we're finally getting into a little bit more luck based, right? You could read every single book and still not get the achievement. You have to wait until the book you're missing spawns in the appropriate location, read it, and get this Kirin Tor familiar. I still haven't seen anyone with this pet, so it is pretty darn rare so far. All right, moving on to more luck-based acquisitions here for different items. We have the Tickbird Hatchling. Now, in order to get the Tickbird Hatchling, you actually have to get revered with the oracles and purchase a strange egg, which will then become a cracked egg after 7 days. This is a weekly thing, right? Because every 7 days this egg will hatch, and there's a 27% chance of getting this Tickbird Hatchling from this cracked egg. That is the highest drop chance from the cracked egg of something that is valuable. At a lower chance from that same egg, moving on to our next one, is the white Tickbird Hatchling at 20%. So a little bit harder to get. Same exact prerequisite. You got to do quest chains in Sholazar, get revered with oracles, buy that egg, and then wait 7 days. So once again, there's a percent chance, and you got to wait a week in order to even get a chance at it. All right, now what is interesting here is that what is the next rarest thing is actually Frenzy Heart Brew. So it's a quest chain, same like oracles, but you got to get revered with the Frenzy Heart. And this particular item, I don't think I've seen anyone with, because most people are getting oracle reputation. But if you get reputation with the Frenzy Heart, you can get this Frenzy Heart Brew. And this actually, when you use it, you become a Wolvar for 5 minutes. And it has a 30-minute cooldown, but it's kind of cool. Not many people have it, and it has a 20% chance to drop from a disgusting jar, which is the equivalent of that strange egg from the oracles. Not many people go after this. I don't think a lot of people know about it, so it's pretty rare. 20% drop chance, not so bad though after waiting those 7 days. Going back to the cracked egg, we have at a 13% drop chance the Cobra Hatchling. So this is a little bit more rare. And then what could be more rare than the Cobra Hatchling? Well, the thing most people are after with this cracked egg, which is the Reigns of the Green Proto-Drake. Very rare mount. This has a 7% chance to drop from the cracked egg. Once again, only every 7 days can you open it. Equivalent with the Proto-Drake is the Proto-Drake Whelp, which is a pet dropping from that same cracked egg. All right, we're getting close to the top 10. We are now in the top 10 rarest items that you can possibly go after in Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Now, this is a little bit equivalent, I would say, to the Reigns of the Green Proto-Drake, and that is the Reigns of the White Polar Bear. While you can attempt this every day, it only has a 2% drop chance from the Hildnir Spoils, and you do, again, have to do a prerequisite quest chain in order to unlock these Hildnir daily quests. 2% though, pretty low. All right, next up is the Reigns of the Blue Proto-Drake. Now, you can do this every day. Drops in Heroic Utgard Pinnacle off of Skadi the Ruthless. It has a 1.8% drop chance, but what makes it really difficult is that you have to win the role versus 5 other people. Now, you don't have to do that, but then you might have to pay out like 1,500 gold or something to 4 other people, which is still another barrier. You have to have that gold to do that hard reserve, and then it's going to be harder to put your group together, perhaps. So it's a pretty tough mount to get, that Reigns of the Blue Proto-Drake. All right, moving on to I think we're on like number 6 right now. Strand Crawler. Now, this is a pet that you get from the Bag of Fishing Treasures if you do your fishing daily, so it's locked behind doing your daily every day. You have a 1.6% chance to find a Strand Crawler in your Bag of Fishing Treasures that you get from doing your daily quest, which is a pretty low percent chance, especially because it's locked behind that daily once again. What could be more rare than that? Well, I had to include the Reigns of the Raven Lord. Now, this has been out for a while, but I would say it is still pretty hard to get because you have to find a druid. You got to, run heroic Sethic Halls. You can only do it once a day because it's a heroic, and it only has a 1.4% drop chance. This still remains one of the rarest things you can get in World of Warcraft, so I had to include it on the list. Now, what is more rare than that? Well, there is the Reigns of the Grand Black War Mammoth. This thing you can only attempt weekly because it's from Vault of Archivon, and it has a tiny, minuscule drop chance of 1.3%, which is crazy low. I haven't seen it drop yet. And then on top of that, you got to win the roll against those 24 other people. Absolutely insanely rare. I don't know if I've seen a single one yet in Wrath. So this is, I believe, our number 5 item. Actually, it's our number 6. There are still 5 more that are even more rare, but 1.3%. You could argue even with the weekly lockout and the 1.3% and winning the roll that this might be one of the rarest, if not the rarest mounts and items in Wrath Classic right now. All right, what's next? Well, Death Charger's Reigns. This is from Baron Rivendare. There is no lockout unless you're running it so fast that you get locked out. 1% drop chance. Pretty rare. I have seen a lot of people with it. In retrospect, might put this a little higher on the list, but still very rare at a 1% drop chance. Okay, next up is the Gundrak Hatchling. This drops from Raptors in Zuldrak in the northeast part of the zone. You can farm this unlimited. You can have unlimited attempts, but it has a 0.11% drop chance, super low, and therefore very, very rare. Now, what could be more rare? We're getting to the top 3 rarest items in Classic right now. At number 3, we have the Reigns of the Time Lost Proto Drake. Now, the Reigns of the Time Lost Proto Drake drop 100% of the time. However, you have to find the Time Lost Proto Drake in Storm Peaks. Now, this mount is highly sought after. And so if you do manage to find the Time Lost Proto Drake, there are probably a ton of other people already waiting, camping his spawn location. I've seen it. He has 4 spawn locations, 10% chance for it to be the Time Lost, 90% chance to be a different rare dragon. And then once either of them dies and despawns, there is now a random 2 to 22, I believe, hour respawn timer anywhere between that range when the next one will spawn. So you have to dedicate a ton of time in order to get the Time Lost Proto Drake. Absolutely insane, very difficult to get with the competition, the random spawns, the random spawn timer. It is a super difficult mount to acquire, one of the absolute rarest in Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Now, what is harder than that? Well, if you have a ton of time to spend, this will be required because the next one is the Giant Sewer Rat. This can only be fished up in Dalaran, and it has a 0.05% chance upon fishing. You do have unlimited attempts, but at 0.05, that is super low, and so it is very, very rare. Now, what is number 1? What is the rarest thing in Wrath of the Lich King Classic? Well, in my opinion, I would say it's the Sea Turtle. The Sea Turtle has a 0.01%. Some say it's lower than 0.01 from fishing anywhere in any pool in Northrend. However, with that drop chance, you could be spending a very long time trying to fish this up, and that is what many people end up doing. And I would say that these are the hardest items to get, whether it's a mount or a pet or whatever. These are the hardest to get, in my opinion. If you like the video, guys, don't forget to give it a like, and if you want more, don't forget to subscribe. My name's Toyhouze, and I'll see you later. Take care.